Welcome to our latest video, where we explore the fascinating connection between intelligence and academic achievement. How do intelligence levels influence success in school? What factors contribute to high achievement, and can intelligence be nurtured? In this video, we'll dive into the theories, research, and debates surrounding intelligence, and examine how it impacts educational outcomes. Stay tuned as we uncover the complex interplay between natural ability, effort, and opportunity in shaping academic success. Let's start by defining intelligence. According to Jensen, intelligence is an abstract reasoning ability, encompassing the capacity to discover rules and patterns underlying objects and events. Essentially, it involves understanding and processing complex information. Intelligence is often measured through IQ tests, which aim to quantify this reasoning ability and compare it across individuals. However, the interpretation and implications of these tests have sparked much debate over the years. To understand the role of intelligence in education, let's take a look at some historical context. In 1944, the Education Act in the UK introduced the tripartite system, where British students were required to take an 11+ IQ test. Based on their scores, students were placed into one of three types of schools: grammar schools, technical schools, or secondary modern schools. High IQ scores often correlated with students from upper-class backgrounds, who were more likely to attend the best schools, namely grammar schools. However, this system faced criticism for reinforcing social class divisions, as many believed it unfairly favored certain groups. Eventually, the tripartite system was discredited and replaced by a more inclusive, comprehensive schooling system in the 1980s. Today, standardized tests like SATs are widely used as criteria for college admissions, but the debates around fairness and bias in these assessments continue. Psychologists Cyril Burt and Alfred Binet were pioneers in the study of intelligence. They both believed that intelligence was largely inherited through genes, suggesting that it was a trait passed down from one generation to the next. Burt and Binet contributed to the development of intelligence testing, with the idea that cognitive ability could be measured and quantified through standardized tests. This perspective has had a lasting impact on educational systems, although it has also sparked debates about the nature of intelligence and the fairness of such assessments. Charles Spearman, a renowned psychologist, introduced the concept of G, or general intelligence. According to Spearman, G represents a core cognitive ability that underlies all mental tasks, making it a crucial factor in educational success. He argued that individuals with higher general intelligence are better equipped to understand, analyze, and master academic content across various subjects. This concept of G has been fundamental in shaping how we view intelligence and its role in learning and achievement. Let's begin with the argument that intelligence and social class are positively related. Chart Increasing Saunders believes that intelligence varies across classes, but it's not fixed by class. If a working-class student is intelligent, they can climb the social ladder, suggesting meritocracy is possible. Open Book The Robbins Report found that middle-class students with the same IQ as working-class students were twice as likely to access degree-level education in the UK. Brain-Dini et al. Highlighted that success in education often comes down to logical reasoning and problem-solving skills, both of which are key in how students are assessed. But here's the twist: not everyone agrees. A study by Murayama et al. In Germany showed that in the long term, IQ had little effect on math achievement. Instead, socialization played a much larger role. Smith and Noble, along with Ramachandran, linked material deprivation and poverty to low performance, not low intelligence. Cultural factors matter too, like Douglas on parental interest, Bernstein on language codes, and Bourdieu on cultural capital. These all show how home life, not just IQ, shapes educational outcomes. Some theorists argue that intelligence is mostly genetic. Jensen, Herrnstein, and Murray claimed that 60 to 80% of intelligence is inherited. A 2009 study from the University of California backed this up, saying that intelligence is highly heritable and genetically determined. Jensen's 1969 paper, How Much Can We Boost IQ and Scholastic Achievement, was controversial, but it emphasized the idea that there are limits to how much education can influence IQ. But we can't ignore the environment. Otto Kleinberg argued that many environmental factors affect IQ test results: prior education, motivation and desire, emotional state, language fluency, familiarity with test content, physical and mental health. Moreover, Dr. Rick Heber's Milwaukee project showed that early intervention in impoverished communities can boost both IQ and academic achievement, proving the environment has a real impact. Let's now talk about how intelligence and perceived ability play out in schools. Gilborn and Udell introduced the idea of new IQism, where teachers judged students based on class and race. Middle-class students were given the benefit of the doubt, while African Caribbean students were often underestimated. Lewis Terman, who adapted the Stanford Binet IQ test, found a correlation between IQ and academic success, and Michael Young, in his book The Rise of the Meritocracy, argued that intelligence should determine educational and career outcomes, a controversial idea that still shapes policy debates today. So, can we really trust IQ tests? Let's look at their limitations. Internally, the way tests are created and applied can be flawed. Externally, Howard Gardner argues that IQ tests ignore multiple intelligences like musical, spatial, or interpersonal skills. Some critics say IQ itself lacks a clear definition, making it unreliable. Bourdieu called IQ tests a tool for the cultural reproduction of the elite, maintaining the dominance of the ruling class. He argued they don't measure intelligence, they just reward the habitus of the privileged. So, let's break down some of the deeper criticisms of IQ tests, and why many sociologists and psychologists view them as problematic tools in education. 1. They reinforce social class divisions. IQ tests often reflect the norms, knowledge, and values of the upper class, making them appear more intelligent by default, even if that's not the case. 2. Part of the ideological state apparatus. As Althusser would argue, IQ tests can function as tools that legitimize inequality, subtly reinforcing the idea that some people deserve success more than others. 3. Ethnocentric in design. IQ tests are often biased toward Western, white, European cultural norms, putting students from diverse backgrounds at a disadvantage. 4. Kaplan highlights key non-intellectual factors affecting performance: your reading habits, experience with oral tests, attitudes toward schooling, and even mental and physical health all impact how well you perform. 5. No universally agreed definition of intelligence. How can we measure something we can't clearly define? Intelligence is broad and multidimensional, far beyond what a single score can capture. 6. Aine argues that IQ tests really measure abstract problem-solving more than actual, holistic intelligence. 7. Stephen Jay Gould, in his famous book The Mismeasure of Man, argued that IQ tests are not just limited, they're dangerously misleading. They oversimplify human ability and create a false hierarchy of intelligence, leading to systemic bias in education and society. In short, IQ tests don't just fail to capture the full picture, they might be drawing the wrong picture altogether. And that wraps up our deep dive into intelligence and education. Graduation cap light bulb. If you found this insightful, like the video, drop a comment with your views, and subscribe for more sociology content every week. Hit the bell so you don't miss our next upload, where we'll tackle even more educational inequalities. See you soon.